What's up, Jaded World? Jaded Brand. We are Jaded Brand. How's it going on this beautiful Saturday morning? I'm headed to the gym right now. Early morning up. I am driving the red eye today, as you can see. Let's get to today's topic. Call this road talk. I got a report that came across my phone. This morning as I was in the car wash, and this is about Kevin Hart again. I took total interest to this Kevin Hart story. One, because I noticed a few years ago that Kevin Hart and I have a lot of interest in cars. I mean, he has the G-Wagon. I have a G-Wagon, the Mustang, classic Mustang he had. I also had the same 67 Mustang, the 64 Corvette, same deal. And then here the Cuda. You know, and then again, because we're all from the car community, we take for granted how dangerous these cars could be. But back to what I was saying, the topic at hand today, the Cuda that Kevin Hart had is a top story and top trending topic today that says the car built by Speed Corps lacked critical safety features, and the car is like a moving death trap. Now, the reason why the story, a lot of people like Dr. Phil, Steve Trapika, I know I'm butchering his name, but he's also a famous car builder out of Illinois. He's the one who built the Cuda for Joe Rogan. Anybody know Joe Rogan from the show Fear Factor? He had a Cuda that was, I think, was almost 1,000 horsepower about 5 years ago. Anyway, the story is that Kevin Hart's Cuda lacked critical safety features, and I would have to agree with that story. Unfortunate. I mean, I love the car, I respect Speed Corps, but those cars that have that type of horsepower should absolutely have a 5-point seatbelt harness, or in addition to a roll cage. My 68 Charger Dodge Demon build that you can view on the channel. Please subscribe, view back the few of the videos, and you'll get a chance to see that. And I will put some pictures in this particular video here later. My Charger, it does have a roll cage. It does have a 5-point harness. Those things are necessary. Not only does it have a 5-point harness, it has G-Force brand. I want to make sure I got a highly respected brand that has been reviewed to be very safe. You must also make sure those harnesses have a year, date, and stamp. They can go out, they can expire. There's a certain length of time on those things that would guarantee, and my harnesses have that. If you look at my 64 split, you'll see I'm strapped down in my 5-point harness. My wife used to joke with me about that harness. She would say I look ridiculous, you know, look like I'm about to fly an airplane. But safety is always first with these cars, guys. You have a car that's a classic car that are made much smaller than the new cars. No airbags, no extra protection, bumper guards and things that the new cars have. You gotta have that protection. So if you go back and look at my 64 split, you'll see I'm strapped in a 5-point harness. If you look at my 71 Cuda, the unusual suspect that is rated at over 750 horsepower, it's a Hellcat drivetrain. We upped the horsepower with that. We pushed the limit. It also, go back a few videos, go back to yesterday's video. You'll see me attired in my jumpsuit suit. What I mean by my jumpsuit, you'll see me attired in my 5-point G-Force safety belt harness. Necessary. And I hate to say it, you know, but shame on Speed Corp for not having that in there. It could have cost them their lives. You know, a lot of these old cars back in the day, they didn't have those because there was not horsepower, was not rated to what it is today. The horsepower didn't exceed 300 horsepower. I mean, they had the lap belts back then, you know, and if you look at the seats that are in the Menace again is Kevin Hart's 70 Cuda, Hellcat Cuda. They absolutely did not have a 5-point harness in there. It probably had the typical, at least I hope, that it had the typical lap belt to give some type of protection, you know, but in reality that has given them no protection at all. That's given them no protection because that 5-point harness, it keeps you strapped in. It does something similar to, it actually does something much better than even these belts here. You know, one, you don't get the play in the 5-point harness. You're just straight up locked in. You cannot move. If you go back a few videos, I'll tell you before that one of my videos, I was literally going across the street to the new location where I review cars, and I said, well, I'm just going to just strap up the 5-point. I'm gonna strap it up 3 points because it's a lot of work sometimes to strap all that up and on. You know, so those belts keep you so locked in that it can be uncomfortable. But I'd rather be uncomfortable than have a risk with my safety. You know, I'd rather be safe than sorry. So I want you to view this video today. I'm going to do a full review of the safety features that my, in particular, 71 Cuda, Hellcat Cuda, the same car that I offered Kevin Hart to purchase. I'm going to show you that, you know, the safety equipment that my car is actually equipped with. You know, it has the 5-point harness. Go back and view my 64 Corvette. As well as my 67 Mustang. And you also see that they all had the 5-point safety belt G-force harness, you know, and you also see today that my Cuda has it as well. And then I'll go back and I'll show you the videos with regard to the Dodge Demon build that we're doing. You'll see that also has the 5-point harness. And I took it a step further with this particular car and I put the roll cage. So this video is for those who it matter to. I do agree with Dr. Phil. I agree with Steve Trapuka. You know who you are. I'm sorry. You built the Cuda for Joe Rogan. I do agree with you guys. Those cars should have that. You know, so just check out the video. And if you are building these cars, you putting this type of horsepower in these cars, safety's first, guys. Let's make sure that we focus on that. We got to make sure we focus on that because without our health, there's no wealth. Without our health, there's no life. You know, that comes first. And I thank God. I'm wishing Kevin Hart a speedy recovery. You know, that's something that you should look into with regard to the 5-point harnesses. If none of your other cars have it, you know, invest in it. All right, guys. I just left the gym so that we can do that review of the 5-point harness, the necessary safety precautions that are in place on my particular car. It's dirty again because I drive it. Check it. Anyway, like I was saying, guys, these are what you would call the 5-point harness. This brand here is racedirect.net. This is what I meant by the date. These particular, they have a date that they're by. You have to change these. You have to change these every so often. 2020 is December 2020 is what the expiration rate on these date is on these right here. You see, you must put the 5-point harness in these vehicles. This car has 700 horsepower. This is what Kevin Hart Speed Course, should I say, should have had within their vehicle. It would have given the protection, the support. If you look at the driver's seat of mine, the driver's seat is always undone because it's always done when I'm in the car. You sit in the seat, right here. I'm gonna unlock this for you. Unlock it. The reason it's called 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And as you see also on this latch right here, you also have the specs, safety. Again, it's valid through December 31st, 2020, which means that once this December 2020 comes, this particular harness is no longer guaranteed, which means when that happens, this harness will be replaced. If the car is still owned by me, it will be replaced. If it's not still owned by me, anytime I sell one of these cars, I also put the details of the safety that comes along with it, where it should be sold. So what you do is you latch all this up, you latch these this way, as you see I'm doing, the 5-point, and then you take this here, you slide that in there, and then you latch it that way. It's hard to do all that with one hand. But this is a must. This is an absolute must. I also recommend for extra safety, you should go ahead and put the roll cage in the car as well. This particular car here, the roll cage is not installed because this particular car here is a street car. Not necessary as long as you have the 5-point harness and it's bolted to the back of the seat and to the frame and through the hole to the frame of the car. That's a must. If I was to get in an accident in this vehicle, let's say tomorrow, knock on wood, I'll be protected because I do have that 5-point harness. I will also show you, if you scroll, what do you see on the floor right here? This is what I spoke about before. 5-point harness, this is a G-Force brand. This right here, also, all of these should also always have the specs on it. But this right here is a harness that's supposed to go inside of the Punisher, which is the 68 Demon built Charger. The only reason this may not go is because I'm debating about doing black and white as in my other cars. So yeah, so back to that, these are necessary. In all my cars, you're gonna go through the videos now and you have seen the Corvette has it, the Charger has the roll bar. You also see the roll bar that I have. But this is the car, like I said, that is actually the one that we listed for Kevin Hart to buy. And absolutely, after looking at today's update, these are the things that's needed. Whether Kevin Hart is interested in this one here, or he's interested in even any of his other cars that he had, classic cars that he had. Just because it's a classic car doesn't mean that you can't modify it and make it safe. That's the key thing. You cannot have these cars if they're not safe. I never would drive one of these cars without airbags. Yes, this car has an airbag put in here, but this airbag is just a dummy airbag. You can't get an airbag to work in a classic car. I'm sure that somebody probably can do. So you have to have as much safety put in these cars as you possibly can. And that's what we do here at JADED Brand. Yes, we love the style, we love the comfort of these cars, but I think that I would prefer my life over them. So that's it. Just wanted to go ahead and give you guys a review of this vehicle, showing all the safety features that these cars must have that Kevin Hart's car did lack. So thanks again. Please share and subscribe, and we're going to keep the videos coming.